Hey there, Michael Griffiths here, founder of Referral Marketing Guru, and welcome to this week's Get More Referrals Today podcast. Today, I want to talk about referrals and where do referrals come from? Because to me, I think so many people think that referrals are simply a client thing. Do a great job with your clients and your clients should refer. And yes, but no. And there's so many other ways to be able to get referrals. So if you don't have any clients right now, or you don't have many clients, well, you need different ways to get referrals because you can't have clients giving you referrals for you to be able to grow your business. If you got 2 clients, the most referrals you could probably get are 2 a month. That's not good enough. We need more. So I want to dive into where do we get all of these referrals from that we talk about. But before I do, as always, if this is the first time you're listening, welcome. So great to be able to help you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel, Referral Marketing Guru, across any of our social platforms. Leave your questions, your comments, anything that you want to be able to share. Hey, join in the conversation and let me know that you're listening. As always, also subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, whether it's iTunes, Google Play, or any of the other thousands that are out there that you will find us on. So let's get into today. And to me, referrals still is probably the number one way I hear service professionals go, I grow my business through referrals. And it makes sense. It helps with marketing costs. Obviously, it helps with being able to convert because someone who you get to go on the back of their credibility is more likely to already be bonded with you than someone who's completely cold. And therefore, it's a really smart way to grow your business. So let's do this. If I start off, I was reading just the other day that when you think about why is it that someone buys from you, it sort of got me thinking about that. Why is it someone buys from you? And when you might think it's because of your service, you might think it's because of this fancy thing or that fancy thing or this particular thing that you do that no one else does. But it's not. It's none of that. There's a reason someone buys from you because they have a bond with you. That's it. If someone doesn't have a bond with you, doesn't matter what else you do. The conversation's already finished. Already in their mind, you are not the right person. Now, it's not up to you to convince them. It's up to them to convince themselves. So if they can't see that they have this bond with you to begin with, then they're not even focused on your solution. They don't even care what you do. They're not even interested in how you might be able to help them. And so many people don't actually get that part right. They don't actually realize that it's not got to do with the rational, logical, analytical part of the brain that says, oh, I'm great at this widget and I'm great at this and we've got this platform and we do this thing and we're the world class in this. Who cares? If I don't have a bond with you, I'm not even interested in any of that. In fact, I'm not even exploring any of that, and I probably don't even know any of that, and I don't care. Well, it's the same if you're expecting to get referrals from people. People don't refer you because you have a great service. You're supposed to have a great service. It's not a feather in the cap. It's a given. People don't refer you simply because of the results you get. People refer you because of the bond that they have with you. And as soon as you lose that bond, it's finished. People aren't going to refer you. So if you think, and you've probably even had this yourself, where sometimes people have referred, and all of a sudden, there was this drop-off. You go, oh, what's happened? Why are they not referring me anymore? Wrong question. The question is, how good is our bond? What have I been doing to strengthen our bond together? And now, all of a sudden, there's a big wake-up call to go, I've just taken that for granted. I haven't actually been doing anything. Where at the start, I'd phone and I'd check in. I'd send them nice little things, or we'd have some fun and some banter back and forth over our sporting teams or whatever it was. But then all of a sudden, you got busy and you just took that for granted and you didn't do that. And what happened to the bond? It disappeared and weakened. So when we think about that, and now we think about where do referrals come from, referrals should be coming from everywhere, as long as you're willing to create a bond with those people. So I always sort of say there's three circles where referrals come from. There's our clients, there's our referral sources, and then there's our wider networks. And I think in general, we miss out on this wider networks part. Like, you think all the people that you know, they could refer you if they understood what you did, the type of person you'd like to be referred to, and most importantly, you kept this great bond with them. So let's touch on this last part. What actually is a great bond? Does that mean I've got to be speaking to them every day? Is it like I'm married to them? No, of course not. It just has to be that you actually show that you care about them. See, so many times it's like, and I've got some things coming up later this week around the word prospect in sales. Prospect. The word prospect came from gold mine days, prospecting, where you put the water and sifted through your pan or the mud and the silt, and hopefully you found a gold nugget. And that's where the word prospect came from in sales. It's like, is that seriously what you're doing? Because if that's your way of thinking around sales, that you're meeting someone, you're putting them in a pan, you're shaking them all around, you're getting rid of the mud and the silt, you're hoping that some gold falls out, you can see why sales is probably pretty difficult for you right now. You got to change the way you think. Well, it's the same when we think about our networks. If you are just simply being transactional and going through your networks for you to get something, you're never going to show that you actually care about them. No bond is really going to be created to the extent that a bond could be created. So therefore, what ends up happening? Your networks hardly pass you any referrals. It's not that you don't have good networks. If you've got a dozen people in your networks, you've got a great network of people already that could pass you business. Why don't they? Well, it's because of the way you are with your networks. See, this is about you being who you need to be for your networks to be able to do what they would like to be able to do. If you don't focus with your networks around caring for them, looking out for them, being interested in them, creating shared moments with them, then in the end, the bond doesn't happen. And if the bond doesn't happen, they're not thinking about you. They're not talking about you. They're not introducing you to other people. The opportunity might be there, but the oxytocin, the brain chemical that creates bond and trust and closeness, is not there enough. And now, as we're talking about this, I can think of, and I'm sure you can too, people that you know. I can think of one person straight away. I've known this person, I reckon, for 5 years. And there's things that this person does that I go, yeah, you're pretty good at what you do. And there's times where we are pretty well connected, and during those times, I'm generally thinking of them. And in fact, during those times, I generally pass things over to them. And then there are other times where we're not. And it's not through all of a sudden go, oh, I'm not going to send people over to this person. That's not what's happening at all. I'm not consciously thinking, or I'm going to do something different. But whatever we are thinking about the most are the things that we are proactive towards. Right now, you probably have a pretty big obsession in your mind, whatever it might be. And therefore, each day, you try to do things to be able to get towards whatever you're thinking about the most. Well, that's exactly how we are around people. If we're around someone regularly, we're constantly thinking about them. If we think of someone that you haven't seen for 2 years, Now, until I probably said, think of somebody you haven't seen for 2 years, you probably haven't thought about that person recently. I think where this is really important is for you to understand that getting referrals is about you being a certain person with your networks, and your referral sources are part of your networks. Your clients are part of your networks. And that's why just your networks is a really good, sensible way to think about this, because really any other human being is part of your networks. So what are you doing to create a bond with those people? What are you doing to create oxytocin, the brain chemical, with those people? Because if you'd like those people to do things with you, for you, open doors, introduce you, pass people that they know onto you, then you have to do a better job of creating that. I think it gives us great food for thought, because I get you're busy. I get this takes time. I get, where do I find time to be able to do that? There's some people who are really successful in business that have grown their business purely through referrals, who know to never have lunch by themselves, to know to create little dinners where they can invite their networks to, where they know that having a coffee with someone each day is just creating these nice little bonds with the people within their network. So think about how you might take your network and creating bonds with your network to a completely different level. And at the same time, watch how your referrals are going to go to a completely different level at the same time. Hopefully that's super helpful. As always, if you are a financial planner, or if you know a financial planner who's looking to better grow their business, become more profitable, get back more time, then we would love to be able to help. Our Limbic Advantage framework, along with our 9 profit accelerators, forms the underlying framework to be able to help financial planners double their profitability and get back a minimum 25% of time back into their business. Hopefully it's been super helpful. It's got you thinking about your networks, where referrals come from, and what you actually really need to do to be able to increase the number of referrals you get. It's not about having lots and lots and lots of logical, analytical meetings. It's about creating bonds. Till next time, take care, have an amazing week, and look forward to catching you real soon. See you later, all.